Will we see him this week?
No, we won't. You won't see Cody. You won't see a ton of our veterans. We're going to keep a lot of guys home. We're going to bring a lot of our young guys to play, the guys that have no CFL experience. They need the work. They need to experience a CFL game. And the vets that are here most likely aren't going. There's a few of them that we want to go because they may be playing different positions this year, and we want to test them out and make sure they're suitable to that and give them an extra game-like opportunity. But someone like a Cody absolutely will not play.
So what will you be looking for?
Through everybody else, I mean, effort, toughness, ability, things that we talk about in our room that are important for us to see, but good team football. I mean, disciplined football, guys that, can apply what we're teaching in the classroom, the plays that we're running, the schemes that we're running. We want guys that can apply that on the field with amazing ability, toughness, and effort on top of it. So, and then obviously we're going to go as a group, as a team. At the end of the day, you're going there to win, and you're going there to win your reps. So, it's important for us to go in there and play well, play hard.
Coach, you still have a few receivers at camp. What did you like about Austin Mack's game on Saturday?
Well, he showed up big time, in my opinion. I mean, he made some contested catches, which I love. He also ran very crisp routes. The things that go unnoticed to the public are the blocking that we saw, the effort we saw in blocking. And that's something I noticed of him on film when I watched some NFL film of him. NFL receivers are used to going in the box and digging strong safeties out and digging people out. And you can tell that's a part of his game. So there was a couple plays where I watched him effort like it's not normal, and it was exciting to see. So not only does he have the talent to run routes and stretch the defense and make big catches, he has that other ability to block, which is huge.
Fullback. Don't want to come back on the played this team last year, but then this team hasn't had a real fullback.
Well, they do now.
So from what you've seen from Tuck and Dallaire, what's your take on that?
Tuck, Dallaire, Mason, Gagne, they've all done very well. And I'll throw a little Sibusu in there, and we use some O-linemen as well for that. So that positions was something that we knew this year we wanted an offense that had a fullback as an integral part of it. We went out and got Tuck because he's the most experienced guy in this system to run it, and he's done nothing but be the guy we expected him to be. But Gagne's been better. Dallaire and Mason both drafting those guys. They've picked it up, and they're both solid players. And then, like I said, Gagne, he's heart of the special teams here, and he's done better even given his opportunity to be in camp. So we're very excited about that position. We're going to utilize it. And then, of course, Sibusu's body type, allows him to play near the box. So, and he's been tremendous. So very excited. Dave and Tyrell have done a great job with that group, with the running back group, and Dave with the tight ends and fullbacks. They've done a great job coaching them up.
How important is that fullback job in your offense?
It's huge. I mean, we do a lot of things out of it. We're a big team. We're a team that changes personnel quite a bit, and anytime you have those weapons on the field, it seems to, not to say slow down a defense, but it definitely limits some of the things they'd like to do because that fullback's on the field, or at least just seems that way over the years. So whenever you have an athlete back there that can do more than just block, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, run a little bit, but his blocking is on the ball and off the ball, and you can move him around. That's a weapon. That's not just a fullback. That's just a weapon in your offense, and that's what we'd like to have.
Coach, talked that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You talked that number one QB job was almost given to Cody Fajardo. What about the rest of the depth chart?
The rest of the depth chart, to me, it's going to play itself out over the next 2 games, preseason games and practice. They've all done a very good job all throughout camp. There's things that each of them need to improve upon, but ultimately, when they're under the lights and under the pressure of preseason, is when they need to perform, and then we'll make our decisions based off of that. They've all been given equal reps all through this. Mike Glass, maybe not as equal as the other 2 guys, but that's partly because in this league, you'd like to see a vet back there, a guy that's taken some CFL reps. But at the end of the day, they're all going to have the opportunity to go out and prove to us that they are worthy of that second job. Cody has solidified the first job. That's non-negotiable in our eyes. But that second job, absolutely, a guy can win it, and they all know that, and that's why they're competing and doing the daily work that they're doing.
So I guess we'll see the 3 of them.
You're going to see the 3 of them the rest of the camp, and then in the game for sure.
Justin Lawrence was one of the big signings made this winter. You know, I know he brings that nastiness to the middle of the offensive line, but what have you noticed from him here since the start of camp?
Yeah, just growth. I mean, he's trying to fit in too with a new system and new coaching and new players. So I've seen him fit in first and foremost, and that's what every old lineman, they're the tightest group on your team. Them and the D-line are usually your tightest groups. So watching them fit in with each other and Justin have an integral part of that. You know, as a center, you're usually one of the leaders. You're the one that speaks the most. But I've seen him fit in, and obviously, you know, he's a talented player. So, you know, we have some good quality depth in that position. But Justin's done his part for sure.
For the people who maybe don't know the details of the position, like outside of just blocking and snapping the ball, like what goes into being a really, really good center?
You got to communicate. You're a major communicator. I mean, the play call gets taken from the quarterback to the O-line through the center. So, you know, it's not always his job, but it's his job to identify, to talk, communicate with the guys next to him. You know, you got two guards near you, and the closest way to get to a quarterback is through the middle of that, or for a running back to get, you know, opening up holes and things. So it takes a great communicator to play that position on top of, you know, being able to physically do your job.
All right. So, Justin, I mean, first camp with the Alouettes, you've been around for a while, you're a veteran of the league. I'm just curious what you make of the first week going into week 2 of your time here in Montreal.
Honestly, I think it's been really fun to be a part of. You know, for me coming into this team with, you know, an O-line room that's full of veterans, guys who've been around the league, have a ton of experience, really cool, and just seeing how close that group is in general. I like to think of myself when I come out, you know, focus on football, get after it. But, you know, when we're, you know, in the meetings and stuff like that, you know, like have a good time. And that's exactly what this O-line room is. We grind when we're out here. We have a good time. We learn in the meeting room. And like I said, my first week here has been nothing but great so far.
You played at an all-star level last year. You were the starting center on the Grey Cup champs in Toronto. Why Montreal? Why did you decide that this was the place you wanted to be?
You know, for me and every person who's in the CFL, they're looking to expand on their career, grow as a player. And for me, it was kind of a no-brainer coming here and, you know, being able to grow into a, you know, position and hopefully, you know, be a guy here for the rest of my career. That was something I was really looking forward to. So the combination of the coaches, the guys on this team and the potential of it, like I said, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to come here. And like I said, for me as a person who can develop, learning under LBJ, like one of the best centers to be in this league is, you know, a great opportunity for me.
When you have an O-line coach, it's funny, like I don't know that you see a ton of centers that become O-line coaches, but when you have an O-line coach who played your position for a long time, do you guys have a bit of a different relationship maybe than you've had with your other O-line coaches who are non-centers?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a different experience in general for me because like I've gone from coaches who, you know, weren't necessarily players like at a high level, yeah. You know, so coming here and having LBJ who's you know, fresh off of a great career and a center, like you said, it's great because, you know, when we're going through our meetings and stuff like that, he's not gonna, you know, sugarcoat stuff and, you know, get us to do stuff that, you know, isn't realistic. He's like, you know, I've been there. I'm gonna tell you to do this, but I really know how it's gonna go. So it's really cool, like to see like a coach that's fresh out of playing, just how they respond and know, you know, what we're going through and what we're gonna see in a live game, and just, you know, put us in a good position, you know, excel just based off of their experience playing. So it's really cool.
So I think to the average football fan who's, you know, never been in a huddle, I think when they think center, they think, you know, snap the ball, block. What goes into being a center at a really high level like you've been playing?
You know, there's actually quite a bit that goes into it. You know, the mental side of it, I'd say that's where it all starts. I think every center's got to have the mental capacity to, you know, not only get themselves in a good position to play, but all four guys, the running backs, quarterbacks. You got to be able to put everyone in a position that we can excel. Like you said, reading defenses, reading fronts, reading coverages, all that kind of stuff. Just seeing how the defense is playing so that you can get not only myself, but the people around me. And, you know, just like the biggest thing is, you know, you got to be able to excel physically. You got to be able to be an O-lineman, but you basically mix in that mental side of it. And like you said, you're not only just going and blocking a guy. Now you got to throw the ball back to the quarterback, make sure that ball's getting, you know, right in the center of the body while you're blocking. You know, big Almano Seawall, for example. You know, so it's that extra layer, and it takes them getting used to, you know, snapping the ball back and making sure that's on point and still getting to your target spots as well.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. So, your first camp in Montreal, you know, you pretty much walked into the starting lineup and you've done more than hold your own. You've looked real comfortable. I'm just curious how it feels through a week plus going into week 2 here.
It feels great, honestly. It feels real good to be out here running with these guys. They were a great defense last year, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. You know, we're a solid group, and I like it to stay that way, and the direction we're going in will be a great one.
What was your expectation coming into camp? Did you anticipate being with the starters right away? I know the Jamal Roll retirement, that took one other guy off the depth chart, but what were your expectations coming in?
My expectations was to come in and do my thing regardless. So if I'm last on the depth chart or first on the depth chart, my preparation and being ready for my assignments will always be there.
Positionally, I find you're so sound. Like you're always stride for stride with your receiver. I feel like your eyes are always in the right place. Your technique is good. What kind of defensive back? Like, how would you describe your game?
I would describe my game as a pretty sticky DB.
Yeah.
Whether it's an out route, an in route, an out in route, I feel like I'll always be there on the receiver, and I'm real feisty when it comes to the finish, trying to get the ball out no matter how it happens. And I'm not scared to get in the run game. You can look at my tackles and know that.
Yeah. You went up against 87. You went up against Courtney Davis quite a bit today. I saw you broke up a couple passes there. I'm just curious, like, what you make of that battle. Do you guys talk? Are you a big talker? I know he talks, but do you?
In practice, I don't really talk because
Okay.
these are my guys. You know, like I want us to iron sharpen iron.
Yeah.
Good on good. So in practice, I don't really talk. I do a couple celebrations, but in the game, if I'm having one of those days, I'll make sure you know it.
I'm curious, can you take me through, last year, saw you play quite a bit at Calgary, thought you played well. Then just can you take me through the moments where, this winter, you guys part ways and you come to Montreal? Like, what can you take me behind the scenes there and how it all went down?
To not get too personal, it just things didn't align,
Yeah.
For both sides, and I believe it was for the best. Like, I'm in a great position now. I'm happy to be here. I don't want to be anywhere else. And I'm sure they're happy with the guys they have. And it's all love. It's no bad blood.
Last year you obviously got a lot of experience like we talked about. I'm curious, the adjustment to the Canadian game, how much more prepared do you feel going into this training camp than you did maybe last year?
I feel a lot more comfortable. Coming in my rookie year last season, it was kind of an adjustment that you had to make on the fly, but it was something I was ready for. And right now I feel like I'm continuing to get better and better at reading routes, reading stems, reading the waggle. So I'm feeling way more comfortable this season.
Yeah, you rotated. I know there's some guys that are banged up, but I know you played on the wide side of the field here and throughout the first week. Now you've been playing some boundary over the last couple of days as well. I'm just curious, when you're playing, like how is it different? Do you have to approach it any differently when you play the short side compared to the wide side?
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's just ball. It's when you're one-on-ones, but truthfully, being in the short side of the field, the windows are a lot tighter. The quarterback has a lot more confidence making certain throws to that area. But into the field, your windows are a little bit different, but a lot of things come across the middle when you're into the field just to get closer to the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm curious, like you saw Montreal a little bit last year, I'm sure, but was there somebody in the secondary or on defense that you knew was good, but you saw them up close throughout a week and you're like, oh, shoot, okay, like this guy's legit?
If I'm being honest, I would say all of them because I've seen a lot of them make plays. I've seen Mark make a lot of plays. I've seen Wes make a lot of plays. But since I've been here, I feel like the whole DB room has stood out to me. And, it's a well-tight group, and I'm sure we'll make a good one this year.
Have you guys talked about the identity that you want to have as a secondary in particular? Has that been established, or is that later on as the season gets closer?
I feel like we'll let our game kind of, establish the name. Is like whatever we are, I'm sure we'll be well prepared. We're going to be feisty. We're not going to let anyone run over us. So I see us as a hard-nosed group, but we're real good into our details.
How did you get to the CFL? Like, how did you, and did it take a long time to convince you? But just can you take me through your football journey a little bit?
Coming out of Western Kentucky in 2021, I signed with the Chicago Bears as an undrafted free agent. Went through the whole preseason and training camp with them and ended up getting released towards the beginning of week 1. And from that time all the way until that was in August, all the way until about December, I was just training, staying active, trying to stay ready in case I get a call up again. And then I just reached out to my agent, shout out Paul Alouettes. I reached out to him and I told him I would like to express my interest in the CFL and see who would like, a hard-nosed DB who's ready to work every day.
Yeah. And did you figure out in a hurry it was a passing league?
Yeah, I figured out because I've heard of it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, my dad has always been a big fan of Doug Flutie and guys of that nature. But when I got up here, I realized, oh yeah, the ball's in the air, left and right. Yes, sir.
Did you have a welcome to the CFL moment last year? Did you have a moment where you're like, oh shoot, okay?
Welcome to the CFL. That's a hard one.
Nobody knock you over early or
not exactly. Like not exactly. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm, you know, misleading them or anything. Yeah. But nothing that pops off the top of my head was like welcome to the CFL. We all have, you know, good players, bad players, but nothing was like welcome to the CFL.
Yeah. I have the last one for you. Just how do you prepare for the grind of 18 games? Like I know in the NFL they talk a lot about it's a big deal to play on Thursday night. You know, you have the short week, but you guys do it way more often than that. I know you played a handful. I think you were at 9 or 10 last year games. How do you prep your body in the offseason for the rigors of 18 games?
It really comes down to what you eat, how you train your body, your flexibility, and, you know, just staying active. You don't want to be sitting on the couch for 3 months and then come up here and think you're going to play 20 games. The body just won't hold up. So make sure you're eating the right things, fueling your body with the right things, and hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
What's the toughest thing for you to cut from your diet when you're eating clean?
The toughest thing for me to cut from my diet would probably be like fried foods. I try to stay away from it if I'm being honest, but like fried chicken and fried fish and those things, I try to stay away from it. I try to do my salmon, bake it, and yeah, I like baked foods more than fried foods at this point.
It's a lot less fun. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate